I was really worried. One of my concerns was when I started this project that people would send me, like I would end up with 300 photos of washing machines. My name is Dr. Pia Rowe. I'm a research fellow here at the 50/50 by 2030 Foundation at the University of Canberra. So here at the 50/50 Foundation, as the name implies, we are all about gender equality. That is my main focus at the moment. We are sort of focused on social policy and how gender equality plays out in the culture more broadly. So I'm working on this visual project at the moment called COVID Freeze Frame. Gender roles during the pandemic, and what I'm doing is the method I'm using mainly is called photo elicitation. I asked people to take photos of their everyday lived realities of the housework that they were doing during the shutdown during this pandemic. And there are quite a few reasons why I chose to do it this way. And one of them, as you would know, qualitative scientists, we have a lot of different methods that we can use to research the world around us. And it's never the case of one method being better than the others. It's just that what suits the situation the best and what will give you the best data in any given situation. And obviously when COVID started and we were all sent home, it created this rather unique environment where people were, all of a sudden there were a lot of families where both partners were staying at home. From a lot of previous research, that gender roles in Australia are still very prevalent, the traditional gender roles, where men tend to do a lot of the paid labor, women are still, regardless of their paid labor status, they still do a lot of the housework. So this gave us this really unique snapshot of this time in history of what happens when we basically equalize the playing field, what happens when we send everyone home. And obviously, as you know, when you do ethnography and you want to see what people's lived realities are, you either need to be there or you need to be able to find that data then of those situations. And obviously we were all in shutdown. I couldn't be in people's homes. I couldn't go and do in-depth interviewing or participant observations. So I got people to snap photos as they were happening. So it was really real-time data that they were generating themselves. After they submitted the photos to me, I then asked people specific questions about those photos, and what those visuals do is, when you look back at that, they elicit really strong responses, because we all know that when you look at photos, you feel things, you remember things, there's a stronger recall process than if I was just asking a plain question, for example. So you're looking at the thing, oh, that's right, that's what I was doing at that given time, and this is why I took a photo of this is what it tells us. I was really worried. One of my concerns was when I started this project that people would send me, I would end up with 300 photos of washing machines. I didn't put really strong parameters around the topic because I really wanted people to define what is unpaid labor for them. I wanted people to have that power, so we are generating the data as we go along. And this really comes back to doing feminist research, because I wanted to step outside those really traditional power structures where researcher sits above basically and defines the world that we're studying. But I wanted to give that back to the people. Like, what is it that matters to you? What is it that you're experiencing? And how can we make this better? Okay, so initially, when I received all the submissions, I started doing some thematic coding, meaning I was looking at the sort of broad overarching categories that I could then organize the photos according to. And that was just to sort of get a feel for what might be arising, whether there's any stronger themes than others, if there's any repetitive factors that are coming through. But here is where I decided that it was really important for me to do interviews as well, to get each and every single one of my participants to talk to their own photos, just so that we keep co-generating the understandings. As a qualitative scientist, our job is to create these new understandings of the world around us. And to do that, we need to be able to talk about the individual's lived experiences. And this is the reason why I really wanted to go back to each person and get them to talk about it. Because when I look at the photo, when any person looks at the photo, we all frame the meanings that arise based on our own unique experiences. So doing qualitative research, it requires you to constantly reflect on your own positionality. So you try to think about, okay, I'm looking at a photo of someone chopping wood. I think that this is probably not something that I would do every day, but why do I feel about it this? Like, why do I feel like this? Why do I think certain things? I then need to go back to that person and see, how do they feel about it? Is this something they enjoy doing? Is it a necessity? Do they rely on this method to keep their house warm? Is it something they need for survival? We cannot create good social policies if we don't know how people live their everyday lives. It's as basic as that, but somehow we have failed over the years to really see what's happening at homes. And as a practical example here, I was really blown away by the variety of photos that were submitted to me. For example, one of them was simply a photo of person chopping wood. And it's safe to say that if I had designed a survey and asked the same questions of, similar questions of what were you doing during COVID, I would never have asked, how many hours did you spend chopping wood? Never. Like, it just wouldn't even have occurred to me. So it's this process of giving people their voice back, basically, and then we can start generating social policy that actually responds to their needs.